My wife always tells me I should make videos of my projects because I inevitably will screw them up about 97% of the time. I have a 1025R with some type of leak from an inner, or from the final drive on the front axle. So I'm going to attempt to locate that and hopefully go step by step and fix the problem appropriately. I guess we'll see. Let's get to it. Obviously, first thing I need to do is take the outer wheel off. All right, used a 3/4 socket to take those guys off. Now I'm gonna work on emptying anything that is left from the final drive hydraulic fluid using this little screw here. Now that was a 9/16 to help it flow out more smoothly. I unscrewed the fill cap just to be able to equalize the pressure within it. And that does not look super clean as it is. Now that I have that, I'm going to remove the sway arm here by disconnecting this. And to get this off, this is an 11/16 nut right here. After that comes off, then this should, I believe, slide up and out. There we go. Alright, so got that out. And I think we still need to get into the seal that is in this part. So I'm not 100% sure how we're gonna do that just yet. I believe, gosh, I wish that board wasn't there. I could get that sway bar out of the way. I think I'm gonna have to take all of these screws off, pull that plate off. All right, so I took all of those screws off with a 13mm. I'm not sure if that was exactly correct because everything else seems to be standard thus far, but took those off with a 13 and they were knotting down very tight. And then I'm gonna, I guess, work on getting this, there we go. Got that piece right off like that. And I think I'm working on getting in here still. Those gears all look pretty good for the time being. Ball bearings look good as well. Down here, how to get this separated, and if you can see up under here, right up in there, let me get some more light over there. Right up in here, there is a snap ring that needs to be removed. Now, after I take that snap ring and loosen it, this whole assembly should, this whole outer piece should come down right here to get to the seal that I need. All right, so I got that far as getting the snap ring off, which was up inside there, and then I don't know what exactly to call this piece, but it came off or down as well. But I did not have the appropriate tool for it. I did have to go out and buy some snap ring pliers, but they were not big enough. I think these are 5 or 6 inches, but they were not big enough to open it to, or at least the little dowels or whatever the piece is on the end were not big enough or didn't fit in the snap ring appropriately, so I really struggled. But I think now that that's off, I should have a little bit more luck removing that whole piece. It actually took some persuasion to hit that down and off. I had to hammer away at it with a mallet, but did finally get it to release. And this is what my seal looks like. So ultimately, I think I'm gonna have to get that cleaned up, pulled out, and I've ordered a new part through Deere to replace it. So now I'm going to work on just trying to clean this up a little bit, but try to keep it out of the case. Guess this would have been a better idea to actually pack something down in there to keep the debris out. There is a small little ledge between the seal and the top bearing that I could see being problematic. I did get a little dirt in there, unfortunately. So this is to try to keep anything else out of there. I'll be honest with you, I don't actually take these apart typically. And by typically, I mean ever, because I don't know how to do this stuff, which is why my wife tells me I should just get someone else to. But as I'm looking at this, the seal actually looks pretty good. As I mentioned, I ordered a replacement because I didn't know what this one was going to look like. I expected it to be all torn up, but I think after I got all the dirt and debris out, it actually looks okay. I think I'm still going to go ahead and replace it just because I've made it this far and don't want the problem to happen again. And I'm still going to clean a little bit more on these ridges here because there is some dirt packed in there. So clean those a bit more before I actually pull it all the way out. Alright, well, that's in there pretty tight. So I've been struggling, tried a couple different things to get this seal out, but it is in there pretty tightly. So picked this up today at Harbor Freight, which is a seal puller. I'm gonna get it opened and see how I can make out with it. Well, was not easy. I broke this seal puller on the very first use. I did ultimately get the seal pulled up, so I'm gonna continue taking this all the way out and then get the inside cleaned up and hopefully get the other seal installed. So I got part of the seal, but the rubber portion that is in and throughout this is the new one. This is just how dirty it was, so I'll have to get that all cleaned up before I put it in. But I am still struggling to get the rest of this ring out. I have now broken both sides of the seal puller, so that is not working. Next temp, got the pry bar out here, and I'm going to try to gently tap this and with a hammer and hopefully pull it up and not damage the bearing that is immediately below the seal. Got an even longer pry bar, and as you can see, I am slowly starting to get a little bit of that lip up and out of there, but it is tight. All right, with a lot of elbow grease, a little bit of hammering, and working my way around the outside of it, we're slowly getting it out, but it is, again, it is tight. Tight. All right, I just got that piece out. There's some dirt and other junk that fell in there, so I'm gonna do my best to clean that up. These are the two pieces that it came out, and this is the second piece that I was just struggling with. And this is going to be the new piece that goes in after I get it all cleaned up. So
Let's start with the cleanup and get some brake cleaners that I'm actually going to use in there. I'm not 100% sure what the best option is, but that's what I am going with. All right, I just blew this out with some air and got it cleaned up to the best of my ability. So the seal is going to go down in there like so. I actually went to one of my local auto parts shop and rented a driver set to push the seal down in. So this will just go right over the top like so to be able to drive the seal down in evenly. All right, now I'm gonna get this old seal taken off and get some sandpaper and brake cleaner and get it all cleaned up nicely so I can make a good bond when I reattach that. Now trying to reattach to the tractor, so I've used a clamp to try to lift it up in. These splines down here need to be evenly placed. Then I put the spacer in, which needs to go above the snap ring, which is the last thing to hold it in place. So I'm gonna try to seed this all the way up through with the clamp, which seems to be working. It is getting there, but that last little bit I'm having a tough time closing up, even when I'm wiggling it back and forth. So I think I'm gonna try to use my old friend physics to create a little pry bar and lift it up that last little bit. So unfortunately my pry bar is not working. I'm actually lifting the entire front of the tractor up, and I still cannot get it to go down that last, I don't know, maybe half of an inch, quarter of an inch, something like that. So there it is, it's a better view. What I'm gonna attempt to do is put everything back together and get this blessed snap ring up in and around there. Snap ring is there, you can sort of see it. If I can get that snap ring in, I'm almost hoping to try to lift the tractor up and let the weight of the tractor maybe push it up just that last little bit. Probably not the best idea, but I'm struggling. Okay, so I just need a little bit more in there, and then we'll see if the weight will help to this is not how you're supposed to be leaving it with that gap in between there, but I do not know for the life of me. I fit this down in here nicely, and as I spin it, you can see the PTO shaft spinning. I do not know how to get that up any higher, or why it doesn't seem to want to fit this time around. So all I'm going to do from here is I'm going to put some gasket maker on here, let it sit for the next 24 hours, make a new gasket, and re-evaluate the option for getting that up in there. All right, so I actually did, if you're able to see and focus, that snap ring did go up in there.
without much of a problem. Now it's just a matter of figuring out how to get it to close that last little bit there.
Pick this stuff up at one of the big box stores as well, so what I'm going to do is open it up and hope that after I put the tip on that I can just make a gasket nicely around here, put a little extra around every one of these holes. I'm going to place it or attach it and just lightly screw on the bolts to hold it in there snugly, and then let that sit for the next 24 hours or so to cure, and then I'll ultimately torque them down thereafter. And that is what that looks like after my first go at it. So we'll now take it and attach it back on to the tractor.
Now we got it on, have all the bolts, and I'm just going to finger tighten all of these to get a decent seal.
So per the directions on the package, it says that you need to wait about 1 hour before tightening these bolts down, and then another 24 hours for it to completely cure before adding the fluid to the axle, or the hydraulic fluid. So I'm gonna go ahead and torque these guys down and let it sit for the rest of the day, the night, and into the next day. So I've given this, or I'm at 36 hours now. That was not my intention, but that's just how my personal schedule worked out. So I'm going to slap the tire back on here and put the entire weight of the front down on both tires, drain any remaining fluid out of the entire front axle, and then there's a right up in there. I'm gonna take that bolt out. I've already done this bolt. If I can get around there. And have done the other side as well. And then the last thing I'm going to do, I've removed the cap to replace the oil. I'm going to loosen up this screw with a number 4 Allen key, so that when I pour the oil in, it will give the air a chance to vent, hopefully pour a little more smoothly. So let's get to that. I went by an auto parts store today just to rent another tool so that I could torque all of these bolts down appropriately. So I'll go over the exact specs from the book for that. But I've had a little tough time getting it to take oil into the front axle. It just keeps bubbling over, even when I've had the vents open right here on each axle. So I'm going to try to move it up on there and then open this cap to let quite a bit more of the air out, so that hopefully the hydraulic fluid will take much more easily. All right, so that definitely helped take the fluid in. However, screwed it up because I took the vent out of both sides and didn't realize over on this side that as I was adding oil, it was just dumping out the vent on the other side. So now I've got oil all over my garage floor. Kudos to me, but do believe that we are finally at the right fill height. So the plan was just to borrow this. These front ones were supposed to be torqued to 20 foot-pounds. I loosened them up, started torquing them down, and snapped it right off. So I'm not sure if the tool is incorrect, but I am not super happy about that.